Hello, 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 and welcome. I'm Sheila Balgobin, known as the Dream Decipherer, and this is Dream Your Life, Live Your Dream Live, where we talk about all things dreams. Today we're going to, with the holidays close at hand now, and everybody's in full shopping mode for the holidays, I thought it would be a good idea to stop and think about the visions of sugar plums and cookies that dance in our heads around this time of year. After all, the end of year holidays seem to be a signal almost to overindulge and then promise to hit the gym in the new year. But we're going to be looking at specifically dreaming about sweet things, the cookie monsters in our lives. What are we actually craving? So, starting with the diet industry, it's a truism with the diet industry that getting too little sleep makes fatty, sweet foods more appealing. And nowadays, researchers actually think they know why. Less sleep influences these certain smell neural pathways in our brains, which are stimulated in the same way as when someone smokes cannabis, believe it or not. So you also have to remember that our sense of smell is really a primary driver of appetite. Think about when you're stuffed up with a cold or the flu, you don't feel like eating, not only because your body's trying to fight off something, but you can't smell anything, so it doesn't feel appealing. It doesn't have any appeal. A neurologist at Chicago's Northwestern University School of Medicine conducted a study some years ago, or rather, not some years ago, recently, in which 25 healthy volunteers were split into two groups, with half sleeping 4 hours and half sleeping 8 hours, recording what happened during that time, and then 4 weeks later, switch. So the groups that slept 4 hours slept 8 and vice versa. And when that was done, they also provided blood samples to see what changes, if any, had occurred. And what they found was that, of course, the sleep-deprived volunteers had high levels of a molecule in their body which acts upon these endocannabinoid receptors in the brain. Now, the sleep-deprived group didn't report feeling any hungrier than the well-rested group, the 8-hour group. And when they were given a full buffet of food, the two groups ate about the same, on average, about the same amounts. However, the people in the sleep-deprived group chose food that packed more energy per gram. For example, a glazed donut instead of a blueberry muffin. So that's all well and good. I mean, the body is trying to refuel, and you can understand why it wants, sugary things to get that quick burst of energy. But what may be going on at a deeper level? What could these sleepers actually be craving? And we're going to take a brief look at that and see what those cookie monsters and visions of sweets dancing in our heads, particularly over the holidays, could possibly be saying. Now, of course, as with all dreams, the particular meaning of a dream is going to be dependent on the person and their circumstance at the time of the dream. So, dreams about craving food could symbolize perhaps feeling a lack of nourishment and wanting nourishment in some area of one's life, possibly. It could also be a signal that perhaps the dreamer feels that they're being deprived in some way. Somebody may be withholding something, or the universe is withholding something from them. If the craving turns out to be for a person or an activity of some kind, it may be telling the dreamer that they're actually longing for something or someone that's missing from their life. It could also be perhaps a call to be more active, that life is a bit boring at the moment and we need to shake things up a bit. But On the other hand, on the flip side of that, in some cases, having a dream about cravings could be a warning sign. In fact, I can think of an example from when I was doing drug and alcohol counseling. People having dreams about having relapses, or warning about relapses and things like that, so that it could be that the dream is saying that you need to be careful, you could slip here, and that perhaps there's a neglect of physical or emotional needs that need to be addressed. It could also be a pointer, perhaps, that somebody may be becoming overly attached to something, becoming addicted, in other words. Now, anecdotally, and I have no way of proving this, I have found that people who have insulin issues, crave sweets a lot, or outright diabetic, actually have, if you look in their history, have had difficulties in their lives, and which makes them long for sweetness in their lives. I mean, and it takes the form of sugar, but they're trying to fill that empty space. Now, there are all kinds of historical accounts and systemic studies that have been done that support the idea that hunger and thirst produce vivid and bizarre dreams. I mean, you think about many cultures around the world go on vision quests where they fast for a time. They're in isolation generally. They go away, they fast for a time, and during that period of not eating and drinking, they may have visions that can change the course of their lives. There is, also evidence that sleep may be impacted by the foods that we eat. For example, foods that are rich in tryptophan or may contain caffeine or alcohol can impact how well we sleep or not sleep. Now, interestingly enough, when I was doing addiction counseling, I used the food quite often to establish a guideline for the client to be able to resist cravings for alcohols or drugs. And quite often when people have newly become sober, they may have dreams or nightmares around drugs and alcohol. When they're actively addicted, their sleep cycles are actually disrupted, which means when they finally come off the drink and drugs, and I've said this before, they dream constantly, even with their eyes open and wide awake. So the body is trying to compensate for this sleep deprivation by increasing REM sleep, which is, again, why people seem to be almost appear psychotic, because their unconscious life is breaking through to waking life. Now, some of the signs that this REM rebound, as it's called, is can be recognized as being an issue, is that the person is suffering with vivid dreams or nightmares. They're disoriented and confused upon waking, and they may be suffering with headaches as well. So there could be simply flagging a possible issue or flagging an actual problem that needs to be addressed. Again, it's all about context in the person's life. Now, these vivid dreams that occur, however they occur or for whatever reason they occur, can have several psychological purposes for the dreamer, including emotional healing and processing. I think of people who have suffered with post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, their dreams are trying to help them to process something that was just unbearable otherwise. It can help people to reconstruct their identity. They may be trying to transition into a new way of being, a new way of walking and talking, and the dreams can frame the issue as well as point the way to a different perspective or outlook. It can also help to work through cravings and triggers, and I think of people who may be have been addicted to drugs and alcohol, and the dreams are kind of their conscience speaking to them a bit to tell them to stay on track and not go back. And also these kinds of dreams can help us to manage stress and anxiety. Particularly in the early stages of sobriety, there are high levels of stress and anxiety because of the danger of very real danger of recidivism, of sliding back into old ways and old habits. And if some of those anxieties can be discharged during our sleep, provoking these dreams, and maybe having that expression during the night can make it easier to cope with temptation during the day. But then, as with all dreams, there is unless there's an actual or incipient issue around addictions, like craving something, whether it's sweet or not. It could be craving more money, it could be craving sex, it could be craving food, it could be craving work, whatever it is. Any of those cookie monsters could be taken as a metaphor for the need to address something in your life that is not sweet. So I hope that gives you some food for thought as to whether what your cookie monsters might be and what they might be telling you. And if you'd like help to find out more, or to just get some tips, individualized tips on better sleep, get in contact. You can book a no obligation free consultation to either have a dream analyzed or to get some sleep tips. Thank you so much for watching and listening. Have a great rest of the day, and I'll see you again soon. Take care. Bye-bye.